Go back 5, 10 years, this news report would seem like a skit from Saturday Night Live. Everything is so opposite of reality, it's unbelievable.
Biological boy won first place in the pole vaulting competition in Maine's indoor track and field meet. He beat every other girl by a significant margin. That qualified him for regional championships. That took a spot away from a young woman in women's sports. Shame on him.
So that was the announcement about 60 minutes ago. Our next guest announcing a civil lawsuit against the state of Maine for allowing transgender athletes to compete in women's sports. The AG Pam Bondi joins us now. And good morning to you, and thank you for your time. We got a couple things to plow through, so let's get going.
Go.
Okay, thank you. You said, I wrote down, you said you're considering pulling money from the state of Maine. So that decision has not been made, I assume, and still pending. Why would you not revoke funds from the state of Maine as the movement happened against Harvard just yesterday?
Well, we have filed the lawsuit today. The lawsuit is filed as of this morning. So, yes, we will be pulling funds from Maine. Not only that, Bill, we want to restore the records of these young women. You know, these women lost records. One didn't go to regionals, one didn't go to state, all because of a boy. All of these records should be restored, not only in Maine, but around the country, of these young women. You know, Riley Gaines started training for swimming when she was 4 years old. She made it to the Olympics. A lot of this around the country is being taken away from young women now because boys are competing in.
Can you imagine if we went to the Olympics with all men, men on the men's side and men on the women's side, how the world would erupt and just, well, first they'd think the US is a joke, but secondly, it would just be total craziness.
Women's sports, and it's more than that. It's a safety issue. They are completely changing clothes, getting nude in young women's bathrooms. Try being the parents of these young women. It's ridiculous what they're doing. They're going in the restrooms, they're going in the locker rooms. Our young women throughout this country should not have to go through this. And under President Trump's directive, we're going to fight to keep women safe and women winning in women's sports throughout this country.
It is pretty shocking
Not even
that
a close
no
call,
women.
Dana.
It's shocking to me that no women in the previous administration came to the same conclusion. Like, I don't know. You fought for Title IX initially. Why don't you fight for these girls now? But the governor of Maine,
Money. It's because of money. It's because of political donations.
she plans to push back. This is what she said.
Because there are maybe at most two transgender athletes competing in Maine schools right now, they decided to shut off funding. The law says if you don't like what a state or entity is doing over here, you can't take their funds away over here.
Is she wrong?
How did this person become mayor? I mean, I don't think I've ever seen anyone interview where they're like looking at the floor or looking off like they're afraid of looking at the camera or something. Very bizarre.
Yeah, she's very wrong. First, to say only two is shocking. We gave two examples, but these aren't transgender. First of all, these are boys in a girl's locker room. One is too many. It's ridiculous what she said, and doesn't just affect one young woman. It affects the entire team, the entire sport within that school. These young women are not being able to compete because of a boy. The boy in 2024 came in 43rd in his category in track and field. Yet, when he competed in the women's sport, he won. You know, Governor Mills shouldn't have said that, shouldn't have done this, should be supporting women in the state of Maine, and we're going to fight for them if they're not.
Okay, topic number two, this illegal that was shipped out to El Salvador, had been living in Maryland. It's a hot topic. Wall Street Journal editorial board summarizes it the following way. It says Mr. Trump would be smarter to play the long game. He has many much bigger issues than the fate of one man that will come before the Supreme Court. By taunting the judiciary in this manner, he's inviting a rebuke on cases that carry far greater stakes, end quote. What they're saying is keep your powder dry for now. Don't blow it on this guy. What do you think about that?
Well, we did the right thing. It was one additional step.
Wall Street Journal is totally wrong, and I'll tell you why. They didn't even do their research. Like they talk about this guy getting his fair shake in the judicial system. He had a full trial. Um, trying to prove that he wasn't a threat to society because of his violence and gang affiliation, and he lost. And so he was going away. And so, as a last ditch effort, his attorney filed a thing that he wasn't supposed to go to his home country of El Salvador because it would threaten his life, that the gangs would kill him or whatever. Whether or not that's true, who knows? But the fact that this has dominated the news cycle for this loser, and they're raising all this money, it's just leading the ignorant and wasting all of our time. It's a complete waste of time. The guy's gone. It's done. It is what it is. He wasn't a U.S. citizen. He's a criminal. And the fact that we're continuing, the left is calling him a dad and a father, which he is, but like he's Mr. Innocent and don't tell the story at all, is just insane.
Step in paperwork that needed to be taken. Now he is declared as a foreign transnational gang member. So, Bill, even if President Bukele said, we'll send him back, all that would happen is one more step in paperwork and he would go right back to El Salvador because he is an MS-13 member. ICE testified to that. There was a witness testimony. There was an immigration judge.
And the other thing is, the only people winning are these lawyers. I mean, we're talking tens of millions, if not hundreds of millions of dollars that will be spent over this debate. And like she said, worst case scenario, if he comes back, they're going to argue it in court and he goes back to El Salvador. And if they lose in court, he'll just go to another country, another prison that's not El Salvador.
Who testified in 2019. There was an appellate judge. All of these individuals and judges ruled that he was a member of MS-13. They are one of the most violent gangs. He is an illegal alien, and I'm sick of the liberal media saying that he's a Maryland man. He's not a Maryland man. He's a guy from El Salvador who's part of one of the most violent gangs in our country. They are organized. They are committing some of the worst crimes in our country. You know, just right here, half an hour away from where I'm standing, we arrested a MS-13 member who was one of the top in the entire country of MS-13. And he didn't have any charges until we went in there. He had 4 guns. We charged him with the gun charges. We dropped the gun charges because we're going to send him back to where he came from, El Salvador. He is now fighting us in court not to drop the gun charges so he can stay in this state. Pretty absurd.
Right. The lawyer who was suspended in the case, did he have the full information at that time? Or is there anything he could do?
And this idea that the courts protect you when you're getting charged from a crime from being deported is ridiculous. That's going to go to the Supreme Court as well. Just a total waste of everyone's time and money.
That could get himself back into the Justice Department. I'm curious what merited his suspension in this particular case as it's evolved.
You know, when you represent the United States of America as an assistant U.S. attorney, you argue for the Constitution, for the United States of America, and for your clients. And he didn't do that. He argued against Homeland Security and the State Department. And so he's not with our office anymore, and he won't be coming back.
I want to squeeze in one more topic. There's news here in New York that deals with Letitia James. She tried to prosecute the now President Trump in his second term. I just want to read a couple things. Criminal referral, then a response from James's office here in New York. James, for both properties listed above, this deals with real estate now, going back decades, really, appears to have falsified records in order to meet certain lending requirements and receive favorable loan terms, all right? Her office responded by saying the AG James is focused every single day on protecting New Yorkers. Specialist administration weaponizes the federal government against the rule of law and the Constitution. She will not be intimidated by bullies, no matter who they are. The issue here is what property she owned and whether or not she owned it, whether or not she was married, and whether or not her father was involved in all this.
There's other news reports on this right now. It looks like she was caught red-handed. She definitely put her father down as being her husband for applications. I mean, she's toast. What a hypocrite. Her whole claim to fame is chasing Trump for the same crimes she's committed. plus the thing with marrying her dad, which is totally nuts.
Without going into the weeds of the details, this stems from a case in 1983 and the year 2000. That's a minimum of 25 years. Someone had to do some digging to find this. Am I right about that?
Yeah. Bill, the most I know about the case, I just learned from you. I saw it on breaking news this morning. This case was sent to us from Bill Pulte. We have not seen it. I inquired right before I walked out here. No one in my office has read it yet. We haven't looked at it. Of course, we'll be reviewing it. You just told me more than I've heard about it so far.
Hey, we aim to please with some breaking news of our own. Indeed. All right. Attorney General Pam Bondi, thanks for being with us today.
Thank you.
Thanks, Dana. Thanks, Bill.
You bet.
Well, and we're going to go. We'll monitor this the rest of the way. We got the gist of what the press conference is about. Department of Justice making a move on Maine. Let's bring in back Jonathan Turley. Jonathan, your thoughts now that you saw the case?
All right, so Maine is in the crosshairs. The Maine prosecutor from New York is in the crosshairs. What do you guys think? Is this just the beginning, or this pattern of DEI hires, employees, politicians are turning out to be some of the most corrupt and willing to commit crimes and fraud, et cetera?